G'day everybody, welcome back. So the last video I mentioned we were having a few little issues, ignition, exhaust and first gear and some smoke blowing. All of which we can deal with. We're just going to have to deal with it one at a time. Just a bit of an update. I had a bit of a trial online. I managed to find an ignition switch that is rated at 25 amps ignition, 100% duty cycle, so that's fine. I've ordered it. And that'll replace the barrel that I've got up there, so hopefully I won't have any more problems there. The good people at Motorcycle Exhaust Professionals in Queensland, in Slacks Creek, were the people I purchased the muffler off. They don't manufacture them there. They do manufacture exhausts, but just not that muffler. They actually on-sell them, they get them from a supplier. I rang him up, I said, mate, what sort of warranties have you got on these things? He said, we just stood behind everything that we've ever sold for 15 years. It seems to have worked so far, and true to his word, they're sending me down another muffler. So I like to, give a thumbs up to Motorcycle Exhaust Professionals in Queensland, because that is professional. Very good. I will have to probably make a bracket for that can, even though when I first queried them, they said to me, it doesn't need a bracket, it just slips on the pipe. It's nice and light, and he's right, but obviously there was a vibration issue, so I need to address that, because if it happens again, they're probably not likely to warrant it, and I don't blame them. So that'll be another video. As for the smoky thing, look, I need to fix this transmission. I can ride the bike, it blows a bit of smoke and chews a bit of oil. I can live with that. If it means that I don't get it done before the National Rally in May, so be it. I'm still trying to get enough money together to get a new set of rings, etc. And thank you to everybody for the kind donations. Pete Pendlebury sending down some more gaskets and valve stem seals that he had left over from his own job. So thank you very much for that. And Dan Tyson as well for sending me a head gasket. I'm not in the business of taking handouts. I don't have a patron page. I don't ask for donations. So these are just kind people from the XS community in Australia, and I appreciate the support. All right, so we better crack on, eh? Let's get this out. I've been draining the oil. I'll go and pull the exhaust off it now, and we'll get the sump off and start work. Welcome to Basket Case. Okay, so I've taken the exhaust off the bike. In order to get to all the bits and pieces we need to have access from both sides of the motor. I've jacked the back wheel up and spun it around and changed into fourth gear. You want to be in fourth gear for this process, because it makes it easier to line all those selectors back up in the gearbox. As you can see, we don't have a lot of room, and I found the easiest way to work with it is to use a mirror and a light. So I usually just pop that up under there, and then I can use the mirror to help me out. So I'll start undoing all the sump bolts and get the sump out. Working with mirrors isn't easy. I've actually had to weld behind posts and girders and things with mirrors in the past. Sort of tip in beside it and you can see where you're welding. It's not easy, but it is doable. Alright, last bolt's out. Slide the sump down carefully. The gasket's hung up, so I'll just try and carefully remove it. I don't want to break the gasket because I need to reuse it at this point. Right. Okay, I've got to get this side cover off, so the gear lever's got to come out of the way. This is an RH frame, and the RH frame, the foot pegs are set back quite a lot further than on the some of the other frames. So if yours is in the way, you're going to need to move it. Top tip: keep all the bolts with the component that they came with. Right, so we need to keep going here. Okay, so we need to keep going here. You can see I've just upset that, but there's two indentations, two pop marks on the selectors, and they need to line up. It's held here by a spring, but all you got to do is pull it off, just like that. We also need to remove this guy. We'll take the circlip off. Lift that out of the drum and slide him off. This cover here needs to come off, and it's held on with torque bolts. So you'll need torque wrenches. Select the right size. Now these are Loctited in. They don't need to be, when you put them back in, they don't need to be super tight because they are held with Loctite. I did notice on the RH engine, when I stripped the countershaft out of it, that these were actually Phillips head screws. Well, actually nothing on a Japanese bike's Phillips head. It's all JIS, Japanese Industry Standard, and they're a little bit different to Phillips head. I've got a few JIS screwdriver tips for my ratchet screwdriver, so they always fit better. If you ever have a couple of bucks lying around and you want to go spend it on tools, if you work on Japanese motorcycles, just go and get a set of JIS screwdrivers. They're worth the investment. This may need a little coaxing. This is a bearing housing, which will just slide straight out. Bearing. And that is fifth gear. Righto, let's turn our attention now to the other side. We've got to go and pull the clutch and everything off. Right, same boring process as if you're working on the clutch. I've removed the brake pedal because it's in the way. Okay, the clutch is now exposed. Hey presto, Brian. And just as we did when we were working on the clutch, we need to be careful how we undo these. Undo them evenly. Our pressure plate. Let's put two bolts back in with the springs. Line them up evenly just to put a little bit of load on the clutch. Don't need much. Holds it all together. Right, that should do. Locking tab washer out of the way. Just using the clutch basket itself as a bit of a dolly to hammer that washer up on and straighten it out. Gone. 27mm socket and an impact wrench. Now if you don't have an impact wrench, you can you're going to need to put a block of wood or something in the back wheel, between the wheel and the swing arm, to stop it from spinning, and just remove the washer. And you can just undo it with a breaker bar. Okay, clutch should just slide off. Happy days. It left behind the bearing. And the large washer. That could have stayed on there, but I'll take it off. Just so I can forget to put it back on later. We need to undo this guy. That's the retaining bolt for this shaft on the bearing that we need to access. So I need to get him out of the way, and this shaft here, 14mm socket. We're just about there. We can just about start looking at pulling this shaft out. This is the shaft that the selector forks pivot off, so we need to pull him out. So I need to undo this circlip, and then we extract the shaft from the other side. The lighting here is really poor today. Don't be frightened of this. Just grab the shaft and pull it out. The selectors will fall. Okay, I'm not sure, I can't see what you're seeing, so I'm not sure that this is going all that well, but the selector for this gear here is just that guy there. What I'm doing is I'm levering it up through the hole. I'm just trying to get it high enough that it's disengaged from fifth gear, and we can just pop fifth gear out. That's the plan, and it falls on the bench, and then this selector will just come out. It's going to be in the way anyway later, so might as well remove it now. The second selector in line here doesn't engage in this shaft, so it's not really a problem. It just sort of needs to be kept where it is, and then this last one, I'm not sure whether or not you can see that, the last selector in line here, selector number 3, is an absolute nuisance. It's in your way, and he's got to be pushed back up into the motor, but I'll just show you what we've got here now. So there's second gear in here. Fifth gear is in my hand. So if you were only wanting to do a repair to in situ, like if you wanted to get in there with a Dremel, it is possible to do that. Why? I don't know why you would, to be honest, because you're going to send grindings all through the transmission, and you've come this far, you might as well pull the bloody thing out. All right, let's wrangle it out, and getting it out's actually the easy bit. Getting it back in's the hard part. I hope you can see, because I'm doing this all by feel. I know that this bloke here, this selector fork's got to come up and away, and he is a nuisance. Gets in the way big time. This is, I guess, why people like doing it upside down, because it just falls into the motor, but I can't see the point of this bike's not structured anymore for being flipped upside down, and it just seems like a lot of hard work to me. We're just going to try and ease the shaft out. Now these are also engaged in other gears, of course, so everything's going to be fighting you. I'm just going to try and work through it. Yeah, you got it out. Nuisance. I'm trying to leave this last gear in line in because I'll just shift this selector up. This other one here. I might even slide the shaft back through from this side just to keep it in play. There we go. See, it's fouling, but it's just got to keep jiggling it around. Eventually, it will come free. Sure, there's someone out there watching this that's cringing and saying, "Oh, you idiot! You just got to do this." And it comes down and away. So here they are in all their glory. This is the shaft that came with the engine that's in the bike, and it's the one I took out the other day. This is the shaft that came with the RH frame, and I've used. I selected this shaft because it had a better second and fifth gear. But now first gear's jumping, so we need to replace the first gear assembly. You can see actually there's evidence of wear, and it's rounded off on the corners. And the drive dogs are worn as well. So I had a look on a forum, on the XS1100.com forum, and they give a detailed explanation on what to do with this in terms of preparing it with a Dremel, similar sort of thing as you do for second gear, where you put a dovetail. And the theory is, of course, as it's loaded, the dovetail pulls the gears together rather than forcing them apart. So what we want to do, we want to keep these two gears together and put them on this shaft. So we just slide that guy off. This little clip in here can be a bit of a pain in the neck. I don't have the right sort of circlip pliers for him, but I'll manage. Winner, chicken dinner. It's out of the groove. Originally, when this is assembled from the factory, the gear goes on first and faces up against that flange, and then there's a spacer, and then the clip goes in. But what I did as part of the repair to try and fix the second gear issue, I removed the gear, put the washer on first, then the gear, and then the clip on here, and that shifts the gear that way by the thickness of that washer, and that helps give you a little bit more engagement on the fifth gear. All right, let's strip the other shaft. Right, yoink. Washer on here. Second gear on. Now if you were really pedantic and were worried about damage to the gear or the clip, what you could do, if you've got a, you can't buy them anymore, but if you've got a spare gearbox like me, you could go down to, if you know someone with a lathe, or if you've got one yourself, you could bore a little shoulder in here to accommodate a second washer, but I'm not doing that. I'm just going to run it right on this, on that clip. It'll be fine. So, yep. Famous last words. That's our pug out there barking. It's as windy as all get out today, and she doesn't have very good eyesight, but by geez, her hearing's good, and anything that moves she barks. Right, clip is in place. Okay, so this is our shaft all put back together, ready to go. And over here we have the rejects. So let's go and try and put it back in the bike. This is the hard bit now. Up until now was the easy bit. I'll probably spend the next couple of hours now jiggling this around, but let's see. Okay, I'm just going to offer the shaft up now. I'm going to slide these last two gears almost off because and I'm going to take fifth gear off. First battle is to try and get it somewhere even close in there. I'll put these two gears back on for the time being. That's better. Now we need to get them down there. This really is just a case of trial and error. Got to try and get everything, in, all the bloody planets aligned here. I can't see what it's fouling on either, which makes it hard. I'll just pop my mirror under here. I'll have to rudely interrupt it right there. When I edit these videos, I capture everything on the GoPro and move it across to a folder on my computer and then load it into my editing software. And during that process, the video has been corrupted, and it was a key component at this point in the video where the shaft was being set into the housing and then the selectors lined up. And it almost makes this whole bloody thing a waste of time, and I apologise for that. But there's not much we can do about it. Fair to say it was a bit of a battle. It took me about 45 minutes to get that shaft in situ, and then the selectors lined up. But we'll pick up from where we do have video, and again I apologise. This shaft has a little roll pin on it that lines up in a groove. That's on now, so clip back in place. Okay, bearing housing. A little bit of blue Loctite. Just need a drop. up the 2 dots. This cover is ready to go back on. Okay, so while I was waiting for the charger in the battery in the GoPro to charge up, I've replaced this cover now, put the oil pump and the sump back on, all very basic stuff. This gear here is the oil pump, and it's driven off the back of the clutch via this gear, which is on that gear selector shaft. So just got to make sure that that's engaged when you fit the pump, and make sure that the O-ring on the where the pump seals against the crankcase, that O-ring is good. Don't forget to replace this bolt and torque him up. So now we just throw the clutch on. I reckon this is the last time I'll be using this washer, but I will use it because I do not have another. Still okay, but due for replacement. If I have to take it off again, I'll get a new one. £50 foot-pound, in case you're wondering. If you can hear some strange visceral noises, Tilly the pug has joined us. Yeah, Till. What are we doing, Till? Tilly, what are we doing? We got it all back together? Yes, we do. We got it all back together. So all that's left for me to do now is to I'm getting molested. Well, all I got to do now is put the exhaust back on and fill it up with oil, and then we can take it for a test ride. Unfortunately, the worst part about this, and as I can attest to from last time, you don't know if it's right until you ride it, and you know, you get all this trouble. So the time now, I kept a bit of an eye on this. This whole job has taken 3 hours. I think that, you know, for the struggle that you've got to have doing it with the bike in the upright position, I think it's worth it, to be honest. For the amount of strife it would be to strip this bike down and flip it upside down, I don't think that you gain that much advantage, to be honest. All right, I'll just we'll take it for a test ride tomorrow and see what it's like. I just want to add a caveat to this video. These how-tos are how I do them. It doesn't necessarily mean it's right, and it doesn't mean that you can't do it better. But what I will caution is that if you don't have, you know, basic mechanical skills, that you probably want to leave a job like this to someone who's a little bit more competent in that area, because you know, the last thing I want is my comments to be filled with, I got the shaft out, can't get it back in. If you're not confident in having a crack, you should probably give it a wide berth. All right, let's stitch this thing up and put it on the road. Righto, let's take this thing for a spin and see how it goes.
I've got the gear lever set a little bit high. This could be a golden opportunity. Well, that would appear to be a success. Well, we better do some more testing. See that bloke beside me stop? That's what Tasmanians do. They're not aware that roundabouts are meant to keep traffic flowing. There's plenty of room for him to chop through there. You've got to watch it, because you'll come up behind them. And being a motorcyclist, you tend to look up the road a bit further than they do, and you realise, oh, there's plenty of room. But of course they're looking 2 feet in front of their bumper, and they just go to the roundabout and stop, and you can rear end them real easy. God, I love this bike. I just played that back and realised the audio was crap. So I've relocated the microphone, and one of two things is going to happen here. It'll either still be crap, or you'll hear me better. So we'll soon find out. Pretty good ignition switch. Head the back way home and go and give this first gear a bit more of a test. There's no one behind me. Let's try this out. Got a wheel stand, so I'll just... Success personified. First gear holds. on my muffler. I did find it. Looks like it's been put in a washing machine with a heap of nuts and bolts. It's absolutely destroyed. But I tacked it back on. Very, very thin material, but I tacked it back on. And, it's there. It's all my new one, replacement of those. Well, I'm going to enjoy a little bit more of this sunshine. I'm really happy with the gearbox now. Just need to relocate that shifter. It's giving me the ears. But thanks for watching. Subscribe, stay tuned. We'll be back with more from Basket Case.
Well, g'day everybody. Well, I've put over 1,000 Ks on Basket Case to date, so I thought it's probably a good idea just to give you a bit of an update on what it's like living with the beast. Welcome to Basket Case.